The world may never be the same. The Trump assassination attempt missed by mere millimeters. And if it landed, it may have been the shot heard around the world, and it would have created for an extreme political turmoil. Many online are calling it a coup, a mutiny. Still, there are a lot of inconsistencies surrounding the event, and people are starting to believe that there's a potential hidden agenda to take Trump, the largest pro-crypto presidential candidate, out. And we'll be covering some of the news surrounding that, like the counter sniper, or the fact that they were saying that they had sights on target for up to 3 minutes, and the fact that they can't even get into the alleged shooter's cell phone, and that he acted alone, being a 20-year-old kid. So we'll try to get closer to the truth in this video. We'll also be covering Ripple XRP as it now broke well above the previous range resistance for a new local high. But will it last? You'll find out in this video. Finally, as the crypto markets retrace much of last month's sell-off, we'll be diving into how this one key chart titled the Banana Zone can provide us some clues about what's going to happen through the end of the year. Then I will be sharing a $1 million game plan on how to approach your crypto and XRP bags this summer, so stay tuned. Before we dive in, a quick reminder that the opinions in this video are for informational and educational purposes only and do not constitute financial, legal, or investment advice. All investments, including cryptos, carry risks and potential losses. Always do your own research and consult with a licensed financial advisor. We are not licensed financial advisors, and relying on our content for financial decisions is at your own risk. By watching this video, you agree we are not responsible for any losses or damages, and we do not guarantee any specific results or outcomes. Some of the links below may be affiliate links, and we may earn a commission, which actually helps support this channel and helps us to create value-based videos like this. We also hold some positions in the cryptocurrencies that we talk about, but that's only because we do what we believe in. However, this should not be interpreted as a recommendation for you to do the same. With that said, let's get into the video. So it's obviously been hard to get away from all of the Trump media over the last couple of days. And in all fairness, it's the only thing anyone's really cared to talk about. But it's obviously had an effect on markets. We've seen markets rally pretty seriously. And so I just want to cover this news because it's obviously playing a role in the markets. And then we'll dive into crypto. So that said, Trump credits the chart for saving his life. His former White House doctor says, here was the chart that he was pointing to and talking about. And if you watch a replay of the video, you can see that he was turning his head a lot.
Take a look at what happened.
Notice how he turned his head to go look at the chart. And in this image, you can see that the bullet would have whizzed through that portion of his skull and brain. And actually behind him, someone did get shot in the head and did die. So obviously it was a high enough of caliber. It wasn't from too far of a distance, which begs the question, what's really going on behind the scenes? Many people think there's a coup or a mutiny. The fact that they had Secret Service on site that was assigned to him specifically for this event. This means that these were not Secret Service agents that were his own Secret Service agents that go with him back and forth between Mar-a-Lago, but this was another team in the Secret Service, which is run by the DHS in Mayorkas, and then another woman, which we'll talk about shortly. But this has been an image that's been circulating the internet as of recently. Jonathan Willis, the officer in the famous photo of the two snipers on the roof at the Trump rally, had informed the public that he had the assassin in his sights for at least 3 minutes, but the head of the Secret Service refused to give the order to take out the perpetrator. In other words, he's basically putting the blame on whoever was giving the orders. They prevented him from stopping the assassin before he took the shots. When you click on the image, you can see that he's basically saying, my name is Jonathan Willis, I'm the officer on the photo, and you can see that that they're obviously looking at something or towards someone. But then we had a community note pop up that said the content is based on a 4chan post. There is no corroborating evidence in any credible media outlet. This is clearly spreading fake news. So you get to choose what you want to believe about that, but we can also watch a video. And in the video, here are the same exact snipers 7 minutes and 21 seconds before the shots with their binoculars looking in the direction from a higher vantage point.
That's when I left office. That was the lowest point, and that comes right from the government services.
And now you can see that they're at the ready, actually looking in the direction of the sniper, which means they obviously had him in sights. They knew he had a gun. They knew that he was not one of them. And for whatever reason, they did not shoot the potential threat. So you could see why this would leave a lot of room for speculation. And then you have tweets and posts from Joe Biden saying stuff like this. He tweeted, "I have one job, and that's to beat Donald Trump. I'm absolutely certain I'm the best person to be able to do that. So we're done talking about the debate. It's time to put Trump in a bullseye." And many folks would take this as an incitement to violence. And constantly this has been the case with Trump. Even the Washington Post posted this opinion piece from Mike Godwin in December of 2023. Yes, it's okay to compare Trump to Hitler. Don't let me stop you. Or this video from Nancy Pelosi.
I hear mixed. Some people are saying because Donald Trump is such an authoritarian, an autocrat, we have to win this election. This is not a normal election where you want to win. If you don't, you cooperate and do the best you can for the country and hope to win the next time. This is something that is undermining our democracy, and he must be stopped. He cannot be president.
And this has been the rhetoric for quite some time now. So even at one point, this guy Mike says, Dennis Prager has been saying this for years. If Trump is Hitler and a fascist, then what would stop someone from taking out the modern day Hitler? It would be their moral duty to take Trump out. So it's no wonder why someone would potentially want to take Trump out. That's not the question. The question is what really happened here. Here is another piece of news from NBC, and here's what this woman had to say.
That the roof where the shooter was located was a well-known, high-priority vulnerability. It was identified just the day before during a security walkthrough. We've also just learned that there were 2 counter-sniper teams on site and that the counter-sniper did not need approval to shoot. One source telling NBC News that prior protocols were not followed.
So if they didn't need approval to fire, then why didn't they fire? Everyone's asking that question. Now, here's where things get a little bit weird and where we have ties to BlackRock and arguably ties to the current administration. So we'll start with the Secret Service and who's running the show over there. The Secret Service Director, Kim Cheadle, she has close ties to the Cheneys, the Bidens, and is responsible for J6 deleted text scandals. She evacuated Vice President Dick Cheney on 9/11, and you cannot tell me this was not an inside job. She would know, and by the way, I'm reading something if you're listening to this, so I didn't say that. I'm just reading something. She would know the 28-year veteran was on the team that evacuated Vice President Dick Cheney on 9/11, and she served on then Vice President Biden's protective detail. He named her director in mid-2022. The agency says that this was due to a data migration, and we're talking about deleted text messages from January 6th specifically. We're going to watch this video now.
She would know. The 28-year veteran was on the team that evacuated Vice President Dick Cheney on 9/11, and she served on then Vice President Biden's protective detail. He named her director in mid-2022. Amid a swirl of controversy over the agency deleting nearly all of its text messages from January 6th. The agency says that was due to a data migration.
System migrations happen, but I think for a lot of Americans, it just doesn't pass the smell test, given the timing and the volume of messages deleted.
Well, it's unfortunate that that would be the assumption that people would make. Our integrity is everything, and there was nothing nefarious attached to that.
Their integrity.
And it sounds a lot like the Jeffrey Epstein scandal, where he was in a high security maximum prison, and all of the cameras turned off in the middle of the night, and he's sleeping, and then all of a sudden suicides himself when he already had 2 guards assigned to him, and they're also not there or sleeping. Something was completely off there. This sounds very similar to that out of the blue, this was a data migration day, one of the most important days in modern history, according to Democrats and the people who were persecuting Donald Trump for January 6th, don't have evidence on their end about the text that they were sending between each other back and forth. That's very sketchy. And this is the woman that's in charge of the Secret Service who was charged to protect Donald Trump that day. Now, where things get really weird and interesting is that there is an actual commercial from BlackRock featuring Thomas Matthew Crooks, the would-be assassin who was killed, and it's been scrubbed from YouTube.
Brian DeLallo. I teach AP and honors economics in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Financial well-being to me is knowing that I can be free to do the things that I love to do. I hope when I retire someday, they say that guy made this place a special place to come to school.
And that's him right there.
And gave as much as he could to help the community.
And what's even weirder is who we impact financial freedom for teachers. It is scrubbed from the BlackRock channel, and it looks like any re-uploads are being taken down quickly. There he is at the Pittsburgh school. That's the photo that we currently have of him. So here's a video of Matthew Crooks, the, again, would-be assassin who obviously failed to finish the job at school, graduating, and here's what his classmates had to say about him.
Anyone who knew him, close or not, it was just not something that we would have ever seen coming.
Described as a highly intelligent student who excelled in advanced placement classes in both history and math, former classmate Summer Barkley said he was quiet, kept to himself, but was always with the ready answer.
Everyone kind of knew him as the kid that knew everything. So everything we would always joke, say, I bet Thomas knows the answer to this question. If we don't, Thomas knows it.
Like, you could look at him and you would be like, something's a little off.
Though Barkley said Crooks did have a few friends, others described him as a loner with an odd demeanor who was picked on by other students.
He did sit alone at lunch. Like, he was always alone. I mean, he was bullied every day.
Crooks is the son of Matthew.
And when you think about it, like, he fits the bill, right? He's very intelligent, typically a loner. They probably have a lot of internal anger that they have, they need help on and need to be worked through. And so, he's a young male that's easily impressionable. I would argue that he definitely fits the bill. But how the hell did this 20-year-old kid get past the levels of security and intelligence that we have? And arguably, they would have had drones in the air. They had sights down to the area that he was at. So it just doesn't add up, right? So let me get this straight. The shooter, and I'm reading from Luke Rudkowski. The shooter at the Trump rally was spotted acting suspiciously near the event. Authorities announced over the radio to keep an eye on him, and this info was passed on to Secret Service. That's from CNN. The shooter made it to the roof with a full rifle kit, as 2 witnesses saw him and say they were telling authorities and screaming about him for an estimated 3 to 4 minutes from the BBC. I mean, these are quote-unquote trusted, verifiable news outlets, right? 3, a standard sniper spotter team tasked with covering such a critical direction waits an estimated 42 seconds after looking directly at the shooter, allowing him to take 5 shots at Trump. Video from the event. The Secret Service decides it's okay to keep Trump on stage for an extended period of time where he's able to face and actually address the crowd with an active shooter. The Secret Service didn't think of securing the high point and advantage area over the event. Yeah, what do you think really happened here? And so it's safe to say that there's a boatload of speculation that this was an inside job, that it's a coup. And for such a kid to do something like this as a lone shooter, it's just a bit odd. And here's one other piece of news.
Official is telling Fox they believe the shooter acted alone. We're also learning that they can't get into his cell phone. They have it at Quantico, but haven't been able to get any data out of it.
Believe me, when they want to get data, they've already got it loaded in terms of their records, right? They are already spying on just about everyone for national security purposes. And so they have access to all of these data and records already. Why is it that they cannot get into his cell phone, right? This kid. So here's what Andrew Tate had to say. They found an idiot. They let him on the roof. They let him set up a rifle. They ignored the warnings from the crowd about this man with a gun aimed at the president. And when you think about those statements alone, those are all true and verifiable. They let him take shots at Trump. When Trump fell down, they took him out before he could talk. And then the final word, coup. And when you have someone that is as big as Andrew Tate, whether you like him or not, personally couldn't care less, what really matters is that there's influence in that word coming from him. People believe it. So the question is, what are your thoughts? Leave them down in the comments below. Now we're going to move on. Coup or not, it's really hurting the Democrats right now. And here's what Matt Walsh had to say. Dems are in a real conundrum. If Trump is really an evil supervillain dictator who wants to destroy our system of government or whatever, their assassinating him would be morally justified. But they don't want to justify this, which means they're confessing that everything they've said about him for 10 years was nonsense. They either have to openly defend his assassination attempt or admit that they're full of shit. There is no good option. They're screwed. And it's no secret that Democrats are now turning on Biden. Even a senior House Democrat tells Axios, we've all resigned ourselves to a second Trump presidency. The race is basically over. And here are the swing state odds right now. Trump is winning across the board in Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Michigan, Arizona, Nevada, Georgia, North Carolina. These are all swing states. These basically determine elections. Trump is in the lead at 67%, 65%, 61%, 78, 79, 77, and 82. He's absolutely slaughtering Joe Biden. And the Democrats know that. So guess what? They're tossing him to the wind. And recently, Biden opened up a meeting with a group of Democratic U.S. representatives by challenging them to ask him hard questions. His loss of temper and ill-preparedness for the meeting reportedly did nothing to bolster his audience's confidence. This was mostly an audience of Democrats. That was a complete disaster. We saw the same Joe Biden from the debate. Biden ripped him. The exchange was hard to watch, the Hill sources said. According to 3 sources who spoke to Politico, which is typically more left-leaning, Biden raised his voice and said, I don't want to hear that crap when they were asking him tough questions. And most of the time, right, the media will toss softballs at presidential candidates or presidents they enjoy and like, and then be very harsh and ask real questions when they don't like them. But we can't rest on our laurels just yet. We definitely need to work to get a pro-crypto president in office. And it's funny because even the crypto markets have been showing that, with not only Bitcoin, XRP, and a bunch of other altcoins rallying, but even the Trump meme coin has been the center of attention in terms of trending tokens today. And then MAGA came in second. And you know what came in third? Ethereum. So now we'll hop on over to the Bitcoin chart, and as you can see here, we've actually seen a steady stream of buyers step into the market on a 4-hour time frame with consistent increased volume to the upside right here. So this is pretty indicative of a strong trend to the upside, and we've officially broke back above our major resistance levels right here at $56,000 and then $60,000. So it looks like the market is already pricing in a Trump victory and will continue to rally into the November period or time frame. Now that remains to be seen, right, whether or not we can actually break above the $71,000 level. But either way, this is a very healthy thing to happen, right? We had a lot of people that were long the markets and they probably had stop losses below this major low right here, $56,000. Those were taken out and then the market moved back up. So that said, things are looking pretty good from a Bitcoin perspective, and the same is actually true of XRP. XRP actually rallied even harder and broke above the 52 cent range. And if you watch one of our previous videos, you could see that we had some EMAs up, and we are now being supported at that 10 EMA on a 4-hour time frame. 50 cents would be the next major support. From a daily perspective, we rallied really hard, but we are starting to see a little pickup in terms of volume, so that's very healthy. We're back above the 55 for the first time in a while. And from the hourly time frame, we're just playing with that 20 EMA. So chances are, if we do not break below the 50 to 51 cent range, we're actually in for a new move to the upside, and we could potentially break that 55 cent range finally, and we will likely get a move up to the 75 cent range. So that would be my next major target. But once the markets are fully refreshed, what I'm really after is that banana zone trade that is coined by Raoul Pal, and we'll talk about that. So I'll just give you a quick description. The banana zone represents an anticipated period of extreme market activity expected to begin when altcoins break past previous all-time high market caps. Pal forecasts this critical juncture could occur as early as 2024, with the total market cap potentially soaring to between 10 to 12 trillion dollars. And he talks about it right here, right? The pause that refreshes on both Bitcoin and Ethereum, as you can see on the chart right here and here. And this was actually on April 28th. So obviously we've dumped a little bit more since then, and then Solana. But then he goes on to explain, once the markets are fully refreshed, this is usually when the banana zone starts picking up to full mania towards the latter part of the year and well into 2025. Now, the banana zone basically looks like a banana, right? It's that trajectory that just consistently pumps higher and higher and higher, and looks like it never wants to stop for a parabolic move. Now, back in 2011 and 2012, we saw that happen here. Back in 2014 to 2016, we saw it again. Back in 2019 to 2020, we saw it. And finally, we are in that banana zone range from 2022 to 2024. We are just right there for that little pause before a major move to the upside. So he explains crypto summer is usually the start of alt season, which goes full bubble tastic in the fall. And we've already talked about that plenty of times on this channel, but usually we get a summer lull, right? And things chill out a bit. You see some downside that potentially gets a lot of people to capitulate and get rid of their positions before the major moves up. But here's what he predicts. Crypto summer and fall will be confusing because everything will have a narrative and will get caught up in the euphoria. And we've actually witnessed that up until present day. This is when memes really get silly in price, unproven narratives like AI and RWA go to dumb valuations. We will also see another 2 or so nasty corrections due to excess leverage. The banana zone cometh. Be patient and please don't F this up. So on the Bitcoin chart, right, back in 2017 to 2018, you can see this would have been the banana zone. Then again in 2020 to 2021, banana zone. And now, right, we're chilling out like we did back in 2020 right here, and back here as well. Well, guess what? We're chilling out again, and eventually we'll get that banana zone that'll take us at least probably to the $100,000, if not the $120,000 range. And then things remain to be seen. But if we get a full scale crypto, fall and winter, then things could go way higher than we typically expect for a blow off top. And because XRP in particular did not rally to a new all-time high in 2021 due to the SEC and that lawsuit and all of the uncertainty around it, we've just built an insane amount of support here at the 30-cent range up to the 55-cent range. So the fact that we're already at major lows for, a 4 to 5 year time frame, I mean, we're even talking from 2018 arguably, right? Things could get really nutty in terms of XRP, and we could see some insane moves and valuations where we get a banana zone at least to that $5 range and probably $6 and above. Now, there's a million ways to come to that conclusion. You can use a Fibonacci tool, right? You can look at history, but ultimately at the end of the day, nobody really knows. Here's what I believe is going to happen anyways. I do believe we're going to see new all-time highs in terms of XRP. I do believe we have a crazy amount of support here. If I pull up that VRVP, you'll just see that from 38 cents down to 20 cents, we've had more volume traded there than any time in all of its history in terms of the price, which means there's so much interest and so many holders here here that capitulation just sounds silly at these ranges, which means it's probably a good time to continually accumulate XRP down at these lows, because when things get nutty on XRP, they get nutty, and this thing actually has a bigger banana, if you will, than most crypto markets, especially for a top market cap crypto that's sitting at number 7 right now. So what I'm going to be doing over the upcoming summer and into the fall is just accumulating. And let me go ahead and pull that up here. Whether the XRP chart looks, a little bit bearish, a little bit bullish, really doesn't matter to me. What matters to me is that if we start to go down a little bit, right, it's okay. I'm going to accumulate through these ranges, because eventually we're going to see some major range of support there, and then we'll break to the upside. And that's extremely likely in a very positive market environment, right? Now, if we do not do this and we start to pump higher, then it's also equally, a good thing to dollar cost average into something like XRP, especially if we break above the 74-cent range for a new range high. If that actually does happen, then XRP is probably off to the races and is extremely likely to go to about $2, and then arguably up to its previous all-time high at $3.31. It's just had too much time in this range, and any one catalyst, whether it's Donald Trump winning an election, whether it's the SEC lawsuit coming to a final close, and a settlement, whether it's a new partnership and the fact that the CME group is actually getting a real price chart on it, whatever the case may be, any one of these catalysts, with the level of support that it has here, have the potential to really send this thing off to the races. So if you enjoyed the video and you learned something new here, then smash that subscribe button. And also head on over to bullrunners.com to get early access to our underground guidebook to become a crypto millionaire. And you can do that by clicking on the link below this video, or just heading on over to bullrunners.com. But thanks so much for watching. Hit that like button, leave us a comment, let us know what you think about the Trump situation, the crypto market, where you're at in your XRP bags, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.